Make it easier.
Ready to go? Ready to roll. Hey, we're live. Tiger Talks with Rodney Lawson. So glad to be here in Mansfield at the podcast studio with Steve.
Hey,
How you doing, Steve?
wonderful.
And Andrew?
And Andrew. Andrew's on the board today. Rodney, how you doing, man?
Doing good. A little tough week, but doing
Yeah,
good.
it has been a tough week.
Been a real tough week.
So you and Kathy have been exploring Boston and the upper northeast coast.
Yep. Boston, Maine, northern Massachusetts. It was really fun.
So I want to get into that, and then you want to talk about high school football in Texas.
Sure, absolutely.
And then, man, the tragic events of this past week.
Yeah, let's maybe spend a little love on it if we can.
Okay, spend a little love. Okay. Any other topics you want to get to?
No, I think we'll have enough to cover today. So.
All right. Well, let's start with the fun stuff. You and Kathy closed down the restaurant. How long ago was that?
It's been a little over 2 months now. Actually, today is the day I just thought about it when you asked me. Today's September 12th, and we closed on July 12th.
Wow.
Yeah, 2
So
months.
it's been how many months?
2 months.
2 months now. 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
60 days without having to wake up at.
Yeah, just Kathy usually would get in there 11:30 or 11, maybe some morning. On a Friday, she's probably there about 10 or 10:30, so she'd probably be getting there about right now.
Yeah.
And
And so now you guys don't have to do that anymore.
Mm-mm.
So you decided, hey, why don't we go to Boston?
that's right. We decided to go to Boston, and in fact, actually, right now, Kathy has either done a couple of garage sales at this point, and then actually I'm picking up the football, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But last week, or a week and a half ago, is right around Labor Day, we left off and flew into Boston. And then on Labor Day, we actually left out of Boston and went up the coast towards Bar Harbor and stayed in a little town called Camden, Maine.
Camden, Maine.
Yep.
Rodney, I know you like to give shout outs, and normally we're shouting out local business owners
Yep.
and people you do business with, but you want to give any shout outs to the people up in Maine or Boston or
the city of Everett. So the guy that works for facilities and stuff, City of Everett, I'm going to give a huge shout out to because he got me on their football field
I saw that.
last week to do the live when we did the game day live experiences from Medford, Massachusetts, and Everett, Massachusetts. And so Jerry Navarra, I got to say that right because it's Italian, it's Navarra, and we made a little joke about it on the live that in Spanish it's Navarro usually, and then in Italian it's Navarra. So
Yeah.
Jerry Navarra.
He
I'm gonna
got
give
you
a
on the
big
field?
shout. Oh yeah, he got me on the field. And what's cool about their field is it's brand new, never has been used. They were using it that night, and for the first game, which they won pretty handily. I think it was 44-14 or something like that. And so Jerry showed me. He said that it's got pine shavings instead of pellets
Wow.
as the base or as under the turf, and you could actually smell the pine shavings under as you got on the field. And he says it does three things. It gives the kids a spring, so it gives a spring in their softer to land on, get tackled on, so helps in the injury area, and then it's longer lasting than the pellets.
And you can
and
smell
it's
it.
cooler. It's 5 degrees cooler is what he said.
Oh, that's
And
amazing.
it had a aroma, that pine aroma that you smell, and like when pine's burning or
It smells like a guy's
Yeah.
football field.
yeah, it is. It smells like you're in a campground.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it was pretty good.
Hey, I got a
and-
question for you.
Yep.
Because I know you wanted to shout him out, but let's shout out the best meal you had all week while you're gone. What was the best? Not, I know you hate to be put in this position because you like everybody, but what was
yeah.
your best meal?
My best meal. Kathy and I were talking about that actually, and I'm gonna go with two things. I think, and it's not so much that the food was so good; it was just like what we were talking before what Steve and I were talking about actually before we started the live. is we stopped in Bar Harbor. We got up on Tuesday morning. I went and played golf right outside of Camden. And then I came back and we left and we drove. It took about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to Bar Harbor. And we got there right around lunchtime. And I believe it was Jordan's Diner, I think, is the name of the place. Jordan's Diner in Bar Harbor.
How'd you decide on it?
We just drove up. We just kind of drove up. There was a grocery store. There was parking. We were probably not supposed to park where we did. And we jumped out of the car and went around the corner to the door and went in, and they seated us. And this waitress, and I wish I could remember her name, but I can't. She had been there 8 or 9 years. And we were in the course. I had the chili, and I forgot. I think Kathy had maybe the quiche. And we were talking, and we just got talking to her, and Kathy asked her, said, where should we go? And she gave us like 3 or 4 spots. One was a garden. One was an area that went down to the cliffs to the Atlantic Ocean. And wow. We were taking pictures. There's pictures on my Facebook page from where we were taking, and the pictures were just unbelievable. And we would have known where to go had we not asked her, but she was just so helpful. So if you're in Bar Harbor, go to Jordan's eatery or diner or restaurant, whatever it's called.
How far away is that from Boston?
About 3 hours, probably 3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hour drive?
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
So you went to the football game. You ate lots of really good food.
So that place was really good. And then actually in the airport, there was a place called the Lobster.
Please don't tell me you're going to name airport food.
Yeah. Their lobster roll was probably the biggest I had ever had. And it was just really, really good.
Really?
And we ate that. I actually had a lobster roll for breakfast Saturday morning, last Saturday
at the
morning.
airport.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was my second or third one. And there were other good places. There's a place in Gloucester called the Lobster Store or the Lobster Restaurant. There were places we loved Giovanni's Umberto's in Boston, Massachusetts on Hanover. And then a couple of streets over, there was Anchorio Italian restaurant. Kathy would have to, in the comments, put the name of that restaurant because I don't remember it. But they were wonderful people. I met the daughter's mom, and she was just a wonderful lady. And we were one of the first ones in that restaurant, and within 10 minutes, that restaurant was full.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa. And there's just a ton of eating places. They were having 2 festivals that weekend, and then the next weekend when we were leaving. And they're all food type festivals, and they're all celebrating a certain saint. It's heavy Catholic down there. And we just had a wonderful time. But the lobster place that you get, I was in Terminal B, and that there's a lobster store inside the terminal, and that lobster roll was the length of the plate. It was really good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
So when did you guys get home?
Saturday morning, about midday Saturday.
And then was your work stacked up on you? I mean, the roofing company kind of
I came home, and early this week I signed 2 contracts, so that's always good.
Always good.
And I'm working on a third one that hopefully I'm either going to get out today or Monday.
Yeah.
For a school district that we're working with.
So have you been in production this week? Any roofs going up?
None. Well, yes, I had one actually for another company, a crew do a job, and then we've got 2 scheduled. The 2 that I signed up this week, I think Reese may have signed one too. He wasn't real clear about what he was sent me a text 1 for 1 and sent me an amount, so I'm thinking he signed a contract.
Yeah,
but it'll sit in his truck for a couple days and incubate. As my daughter likes to say, and we'll maybe see it the first of the week, and then he'll want to do it the next day. But no, and I say that in total joshing so that my son doesn't get all mad or anything. But we've got a big golf match tomorrow too. So,
oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
And Reese is playing.
Oh yeah, it's Reese and a young man named Crew who I've highlighted.
Oh, wow. Are they
Crew,
coming here?
No, we're going to Blanchard, and we're going to play with them. Crew Galambos. I hope I said that right, Chris. And Chris and I always, the dads always take on the sons.
And do the dads win?
Oh, every time. I mean, like we're debating whether or not we should even give them. We're debating whether or not we should give them strokes at this point.
Wow.
I mean, because last time it was over by the 12th hole. I mean, it was pretty much hand in, And I mean, but we have fun with it. And
no chance of a comeback after the 12th hole.
No, and shout out, I guess, if we're going to do a shout out to the Northwood Hills. Oh my gosh, I can't remember their mascot now, but Northwood Hills, I'm sure, is playing a big game tonight. So it's always shout out to them and the cheerleaders, because Chris's wife is the cheerleader sponsor. So I got to give the shout out to Chris's wife, the cheerleader sponsor, or the cheerleaders, and Chris's daughter is on the dance team. So I got to give a shout out to the dance team as well. So go Northwood.
So speaking of impossible comebacks, here about 3 or 4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
you gave the Rangers like a 10 to 15% chance
I know.
of making the playoffs. You said it was possible, but you said it was looking pretty bleak at the time. So why don't you catch us up?
Well, whoever expected Michael Hellman to come out of nowhere?
I know.
Literally out of nowhere.
What a dream for that kid, right?
Yeah.
To play in all these
Not only
years.
hits the first Grand Slam that the Rangers had all season to win a game, but then also hits another home run the next night and just has done crazy things. And if you, excuse me, I still have a little bit of a cough, but if you listen to the pundits, they say he stands flat-footed, but he absolutely threw a guy out at third base from – you're supposed to be moving forward. You're supposed to catch the ball moving forward. That's textbook baseball. He stands flat-footed, but his arm is such a good arm that he still threw the guy out. I mean, you're not going to run on him, and if you do, you're taking a huge risk. And Jonah, let's give props to Jonah Heim. He's actually played really well. Cody Freeman's played really well, along with a couple others, young cats. Jake Berger is coming on and doing really well. He's really been batting over 300 since the All-Star break.
So how's Jock doing in this run?
Well, we'll move on. He has his good days and bad days, and he's going to be.
I'm rooting for that guy.
I'm not really a big Jock Peterson
Oh,
fan.
come on, Rodney. Like that dude he's got the goods. It's in there.
Yeah, maybe.
He's going to turn it on.
Maybe.
So this impossible run, is it? Have we made the playoffs yet, or are we still out?
We're still out. 2 games out first, but Seattle and Houston are tied. And so when you look at it with Seattle, because if it comes down to a tiebreaker, we lose with Seattle and Kansas City.
Okay.
So we can't be tied with either one of those in the race, either for a wild card or for the pennant.
So how many games we got left?
I think it's 16.
16 games.
I think we got to win 11.
We're in the home stretch.
I think we got to win 10 to 11 games.
That's what you think?
I think the way I've looked at the schedules, and that's with us taking 2 out of 3 from Houston. What I see, and now obviously Houston could go really bad, but their schedules get easier towards the end. Our schedules do not get easier. We play the Mets for 3. We play the Astros for 3. And then I think we play the Twins. And we may play the Athletics again.
Cleveland.
At Cleveland. Well, we end with Cleveland. But I think we play the Twins and the Athletics. So we have to win 5 of those games. And then I think we had to win a combination of 5 or 6 with the other 3 sets. We have 9 against teams that are in the race.
Well, who would have ever seen us sweeping the Brewers?
We have the hardest schedule, and yes, I had us losing 2 out of 3 there, and I had that and this weekend's set going to cost us this deal. But I also didn't think I thought at the time 2 weeks ago, Cleveland was fading a little bit, and Cleveland did very well in the last 2 weeks as well. One, they took care of business with Kansas City, I believe. I believe they won that series. Excuse me. They won that series, and so they put themselves back in position. And so, it I doubt it does, because Houston would have to probably really – I don't think Seattle's, because they're winning as well. That's the problem. Seattle's been winning as well. Houston is the one that is struggling. So Texas is going to have to hold their own against New York this weekend. And they're pitching two of their top three pitchers this weekend. They're going to have to be able to do it against Houston next week. And that's going to be a telltale sign. If they can win 2 out of 3 against Houston next week, then you got a situation to where it comes down to 8, 9 games. And, well, it does. It comes down to 9 games. And whoever has the best record. Because if they win 2 out of 3 with Houston, I feel that they would own the tiebreaker with Houston. I think. I'm not sure, but I think that they would own the tiebreaker.
Well, Seattle and New York are tough. I mean, they've got MVP contenders.
Yes.
That kid out of the Mariners.
Cal Raleigh?
Yes. Oh, my gosh, man. What a phenomenal player.
Yeah, he is.
And then you got Aaron Judge, who tied or broke Jolton Joe DiMaggio's record the other night, and he's a perennial MVP. So those are tough teams.
Yeah, it is.
So you think Houston is our key?
Houston is who we got, who's probably going to be our best shot.
Yeah,
I doubt. Seattle's hungry. They caved 2 years ago and lost out after taking 3 or 4 from the Rangers. They didn't see it through, and that's what enabled the Rangers to go on and win the World Series. But, there's a couple things. I hope the Rangers make it, but I hope they don't expendiate everything to get into the playoffs and then don't do well in the playoffs.
Now,
that's always that case. You can go be so hot and you don't give none of their pitchers like DeGrom and some others who could use, like Leiter. Leiter is if he's not already he's closing in the most innings he's pitched in a season. That's tough on especially a young pitcher.
Yeah.
And, you're going to need both of those in the playoffs. And because of the way the schedule's set up and because of where they are fighting from beneath, they're not going to have a chance to give those players a break.
Yeah.
And that can be tough in and of itself as well.
Yeah, I remember a pitcher from the Phillies in the 80s, Tug McGraw.
Oh, yes, Tug McGraw. Yes, that's a good one.
He went all the way through Pennant World Series. And they're like, I don't know if he can keep going. And he kept pitching. Yeah. He kept winning. And the Phillies kept winning. And, they pulled it off. So sometimes you can keep it going.
Yeah, you can. Jonah Heim. 2 years ago, and I brought this up, I think, an earlier time, from the middle or 1st of August, never took a day off as a catcher.
That's crazy. And
went all the way through but he was having a career year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Jonah Heim has struggled since. Had a horrible year last year, has somewhat picked it up a little bit here in the last couple of months, but sometimes – the workload that he had from August 1st through November 1st of 2023 was Pudge-like.
Yeah.
And there's only been 2 people that have been able to do that at that level and sustain it, and that's Pudge Rodriguez and Johnny Bench.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's crazy. It is.
People forget how good Pudge was.
Oh, he was incredible. Played a lot of games, too.
Played a ton of games. And he played on really good teams. And
he did.
He was one of the most outstanding players on those teams.
He did. Absolutely.
All right, man. So any hot sports opinions about the Rangers fans? I know some things have been said about the stands and the lack of people in the stands.
We're, I as a diehard baseball fan, I'd like to see more people there. I think the in-house presentation at Ranger games is by far one of the best. I've been to several. I've been to Boston. I've been to New York. I've been to Minnesota. I've been to Colorado. Been to
Where is
several.
it where they have Mr. Freeze or and
Well, I don't know about that one. That would be,
you know, and
is
he races fans. You don't know
I,
where that is?
I don't know where that one is.
I always watch that to see if he's going to win.
Oh,
like
really?
on the reels, you know.
You know, it'd be nice. I don't want I love the Savannah Bananas for what they are, and that's a neat entertainment.
I saw Roger Clemens pitch with them.
Yeah, and that's a neat entertainment deal. I don't want all of that brought in, but it would be cool if you could bring in sprinkle a few things in to make the Major League Baseball experience a little bit more to lure fans
Come
in.
on, man. Tell me, if Hellman did a flip while he caught an outfield fly,
No.
That would make ESPN, right?
It would, but I don't know that. I think his playing time would get greatly reduced because Bochy's not about that. And
no, he's not. He's a disciplined old school guy.
But no, I think it's. I think if you could do something though, like I said, I think the Rangers do a wonderful presentation. I happen to know the PA guy, and he does an incredible job. And his whole department, you know. I kind of like the dot race every night.
I like the dot race, yeah.
It's just something that is, you know, they've ran it for years and years, and it's fun kind of when they push each other and adds to the entertainment value and all. It's just I wish that we could do something, but, you know, I think winning equates that. But, you know, like I said, the Rangers are the hottest team. Milwaukee's the best team in baseball. And for whatever reason, they're considered mid-market or small market teams, and they just don't draw on a weeknight. And I get it that it's school night, and I get it. There's so much going on now. But you go to Boston, you go to St. Louis, you go to the Chicago Cubs and White Sox, you go to go to some of these Phillies, go to some of these East Coast towns, and there's 40,000 strong there every night, or 35,000 strong there every night. And it just would be nice because we're in that playoff atmosphere, and it would be nice because, I mean, like I said, like you just said, they just swept the best team in baseball.
Right.
And that's huge. That is huge.
Boy, St. Louis has a really good baseball market.
They do.
The Cardinals have done a phenomenal job, and they have for years.
Yeah, of course they're a 100-year, you know, they're long-lasting team,
right?
That has played a lot, and I think that has a little bit to do with it. But you know, like one of the days that the day that we got back to Boston Friday, we ended up at Fenway, and there's probably a couple hundred people just in and around the stadium that day on a day, and Boston's out of town that day.
Yeah,
and they're just in and around, going in the stadium, and
Boston's such
just
a great
at the
baseball
souvenir
town.
shop, and it's just one of those kind of things that happens, and that doesn't happen in Arlington. And I don't know,
it doesn't.
I don't know.
Hey, I was in St. Louis yesterday. I flew in, and I was working with Steve Bovenet at Accredited Roofing. I met with his team, and I just wanted to show you this. Show the camera. He gave me a gold card. Like, this is an actual gold card with his name embossed on it. It's got his mission statement on the back, and it's kind of, cut out with his logo here. Accredited Roofing. Has a really good team out there in the St. Louis market. He's actually in Illinois, just over the
Callie,
border.
if you're watching, take note.
Look at that. That's a gold card. You want to feel that?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, huh?
That's awesome. Callie, Reese.
Cool card, Steve. And shout out to the Accredited Roofing team.
Absolutely.
Man,
Does he pass those out?
He passed it out to me when I got there.
Wow.
I got a hold of that.
That's awesome.
Man, that's a cool looking card. Steve.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Good job with the team there. Excellent cards.
Yes.
All right. So, do you want to talk about high school football now, or should we hold that?
What do you think?
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So, every week you do a game of the week.
Yeah, we're going to Scurry, and it's Palmer Bulldogs versus Scurry Rosser. If you check out my lives, I was at a grocery store. My mom and dad, or my dad, used to own a grocery store from this is going to be really way back there, 1960 to 1972. And then they started leasing it out from 1972 to 2000 and sold it in 2000. And,
okay.
To the last people that were leasing it out. I've actually tried to buy it once or twice since then to rename it again. Back, it used to be called Lawson Grocery. So anybody that's watching this from Terrell that grew up in Terrell that is north of 50 would probably remember that. Maybe if actually you would have to be north of 55 and to know that. And but yeah, it was a great place. It's called Sloan's Super Save. They've been there since 1954. They got a highway sign actually on the outside of their building when you drive when you walk in, and it says Sloan's Super Save, and it's like a farm and market highway sign, and it says since 1954, and that's actually longer than that was started actually 7 years before my dad opened his up or took over for another person that had the store. And we actually lived next door to the store, and two of my dear friends, one who won last week's challenge, Friday night challenge, James Rickman, and Cliff Vance, who runs his own remodeling company.
What does James do?
James is, I think James may be retired now. I'm not really sure what James. I know he helps takes care of his mother-in-law, and is just a great friend, and has been a great friend since we were probably 3 or 4. We went to the same church, played church basketball together.
You go back a long way.
I think he may have been on our baseball team back when we had Pee Wee baseball. And but Cliff and I have done some things, collaborated on some things before. But he runs a restoration and remodeling. He does more construction side, and I do the roofing side. But Cliff, and I've known him ever since. His sister's husband, his sister is Jackie, and her husband, Lewis, was a big help to my mom and dad, especially my dad, in some of his later years when he had doctor's appointments and stuff, and I can't thank them enough. Cliff and I played all the time until I moved to where we grew up most of my life after Dad got out of the store business, and it was just a great deal. But we're going to Scurry and Palmer. I don't know how I got off on that other, but we're going to Scurry and Palmer, and they're playing in Scurry tonight. Palmer has a really good quarterback, I hear, and from all accounts, I've heard that Palmer is favored tonight. But it's a big rival game. Scurry and Palmer have played many years, intense rivalries. I've refereed basketball games between Palmer and Scurry. Know people on both sides. Adam Jason, who runs his own insurance company.
I know Adam.
Grew up in Palmer. In Scurry. I'm sorry, Adam. Oh man, I'll get angry text if I'd said he grew up in Palmer. But Adam Jason runs his own insurance company, and he grew up and graduated from Scurry Rosser, and I believe that 3 of his 3 kids graduated from Scurry. I think Colin played football for Scurry Rosser, and Autumn and Autumn, his 2 daughters went to Scurry as well. And so anyway.
So are you picking Scurry tonight? Is that your pick?
I'm not going to pick because I need to. There's roofing available in both towns, and I'd like to get both of those. Just like 2 weeks from now, I'm not going to pick, and that's a big one coming up in 2 weeks.
But you say the Palmer quarterback, is he like D1 material? Is he good?
I don't know. I think he's been playing. I think I was told this morning he's been their quarterback since he was a freshman.
Ooh,
so
wow. Yeah.
There's 3A football. It's really good. And
what's the stadium like out there?
It is a really nice stadium for a 3A stadium. They have turf, and they have a really nice stadium. I think their high school is 10 to 15 years old. There's 2 high schools. Used to be what was the high school is now the junior high, the old high school, and you can still see the old football stadium. But the new one, or I don't know that it's new anymore, especially to local people. But their stadium, I don't know, it may be 15, it may be going on 20. I'm not really sure, but great football stadium, great atmosphere, Friday night lights.
Friday night lights.
So,
well, Rodney, man, this is a tough transition to make.
Yeah, well, let's make it. I mean, we can make it. We're going to review some love. You know, yesterday got overshadowed because of the events on Wednesday, and certainly so. Yesterday was the 24th anniversary of 9/11, and I think we all probably is a time in history that's not pleasant, not fun to talk about, and certainly Wednesday events were not pleasant and not fun to talk about, and there's been obviously hot opinions on all sides of it.
Ooh, hot opinions.
Oh, real hot opinions. And I'm not sure I want to express a hot opinion, but the thing that I've been dwelling on with both events, and the thing that I think as a follower of Christ that we need to, and as a leader, as that leaders need to focus on, is how do we share love in a situation where we are angry, upset, and I think we have to really, probably for me, I'm going to be very self-transparent here. I'm a person that holds conservative values, and I think every person that speaks in love and speaks with a quiet spirit, not combative, which I think Mr. Kirk did. I don't know a lot about Mr. Kirk, and I don't know a lot, and I'm not going to speak a lot on that, but I think when you speak with a quiet voice, and when you speak with, hey, this is my position, if you're willing, if you want to share your position, and let's debate it, and all, but I think we got to look at 1 Corinthians 13.
All right, let's go ahead and look at it.
I think verse 7 talks about love, and it says, I'll just read out of the Bible, and I'm going to read two verses. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. But in verse 7, it always protects, it always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres. There's some common modern text that says it always endures. That's where we get the phrase, I think, sometimes, that love conquers all.
Okay.
And, it's hard to love when things like this have happened. One of the things that I kind of tried to get away from the social media. It was hard Wednesday, and it was a little bit better yesterday because there was just constant post after post from people. People wanting to unfriend people, people wanting to block people. But if you're a follower of Christ, and if someone is really, really divisive, and you're trying not to be divisive, well, how can you block somebody or say unfriend me and still not be divisive? And I think it goes back to, and I'm not trying to equate the two, but, during Jesus' time, there were very combative. That was a very combative time.
It was.
It was very similar. We don't want to say it is, but it was very similar to this. The Roman government wanted to sniff out any opposition.
True.
And if they perceived Jesus as an opposing person, which they did towards the end especially, they wanted to sniff that out. They didn't want any rebellious. They didn't want any rebellions. And we have to, but at every point, Jesus approached things in love. Even when he cleaned out the temple, it was in love. And, love does conquer all. It is very difficult to love people. Like, I guarantee you, when the terrorists attacked the New York sky, the Twin Towers, was headed towards the Pentagon and others, there's no love there. It is hard to love someone when they do that. But and I could be very wrong, and I hope I don't get criticized on this, but Jesus told us we are not of this world. If we are truly a follower of Jesus, we are not of this world. We are of heaven. And so how can you not express love even in those? Look at Jesus himself on the cross. He looked at The people that were prosecuting him, mocking him, same situation, mocking him as he was dying. And he just looked at them and said, God, forgive them. And then the thief on his left-hand side, he said, the thief said, thief had nothing to that point in his life that pointed to Jesus. And he said, hey, man, if you can think about me when you go to heaven, I'd appreciate it. Jesus, what'd he say? You're with me today. Mm. And, there's a famous pastor, if you watch reels and stuff, that talks about the thief himself. Shows up in heaven. The people in heaven are like, how'd you get here? I don't know. I just told the guy, just said, hey, think about me. And Jesus said, you'd be with me today. And, well, we got to check this. And it's just a funny way to talk about how the deal. But, it talks, chapter 13 ends with that we must have faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Yeah.
And Jesus said the 2 commandments, love your father and love your others as yourself.
Yeah.
How do we get to that point in a situation like this? I don't know. I don't have those answers.
So are you feeling love right now?
It's been tough.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a dear friend, I won't mention his name. We were talking, texting a little bit. I know you're not supposed to text when you drive. And he said, yeah, it's very unsettling this week. Very just taking me back and unsettling. And I totally agree. It's a very unsettling time. And it's very hard to love others when they're expressing divisiveness and hate. But at some point, somebody has to stand. And I think from what I've heard, like I said, I didn't follow Kirk, so I can't really talk about him on that situation. But I can't go into defending him or anything. I do believe in conservative values. And from what I understand, that's what he stood for. And he presented the gospel in a way of a conversation. And I think I don't think anybody should be killed for their beliefs. But, in countries other than the U.S., we see it happen on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And I think, unfortunately, we have been deaf-toned to that, and now it's come to our soul.
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's a hard thing to accept and take.
Mm. It's very unsettling.
It is very unsettling.
I can tell you in my household, with my family, with my daughter and my son, is that they were probably not big followers of Charlie Kirk, although I can say that Charlie was very popular with the college crowd, young people.
Very popular.
Extremely popular, and I'm sure that they espouse a lot of the same values as Charlie had. But it's so unsettling that someone who stands up for what they believe and is speaking out in a respectful way, politely, as respectful as you can be when you're debating ideas, that they would be shot, assassinated in public for the whole world to see. And, I don't understand why it has to be publicly. Like, why shoot him publicly? Like, that's sending a message.
It is, and I think we have become, God, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is there are a fragment of people out there that have become so embraced with the sensationalization of life, and that we have, as I told my wife the other day, we have allowed little things like games to become so, what's the word, where you get engulfed in them, like you're actually in it, and that we have put aside the humanity. We mock people on social media. This phone is great in so many ways. Like Steve just commented in the comments. We go back to Mr. Freeze. That's Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And so you can grab that piece of information in seconds, whereas 20 years ago we wouldn't have been able to grab that.
Right.
This phone is an incredible piece of a device, but it is also an evil piece of device, in that it brings, you know, I've seen, let's take away this week, for example. I've seen in past weeks where people have said stuff on deal, and you finally get people that just get tired of it and say, get from behind your keyboard and come say that in person,
right,
and see what happens. And I think the unfortunate thing is we have become very numb to what is said. I'm guilty firsthand of saying things that I probably shouldn't have said on Facebook or other forms of social platforms. I watch our roofing industry tear people up for asking a simple question. You know, what should I do on a sidewall? And people within 4 comments are saying, well, if you don't know what to do on a sidewall, why are you a roofer?
Right.
And it's just like, hey, not everybody's the expert you are. I get it. But
right,
at least they're asking. They're asking what should they do right. And you have just basically bulldozed them and rolled right back over them. And we do that on a daily basis. And so then what happens is we get an utter shock, and we become so sensationalized by that it takes something that is horrific. And the sad thing is, you know, there were people complaining that they allowed the video to stay on YouTube longer than they would have in other situations.
Yeah.
And yeah, that video should have never been. But the unfortunate thing is people are drawn to the negativity. News never leads with you don't ever hear the news leaving with a positive story. Right. And like prior to Charlie Kirk, the overriding story on social media was about this grandma who felt her ball was taken away from her by a 10-year-old boy who ended up getting a bat and a goodie bag.
Yeah.
And, you know, we go from story to story that is going to draw. It's never a positive story. You never hear about the person that's doing something behind the scenes quietly that's positive that made someone else's life better. Mm-hmm. Rarely that stuff gets buried because it's not drama and it's not sensationalist deal. And that's unfortunate. That is so unfortunate that our country is driven by the negativity and the socialization. And how do we get away from that and get back to, because we can't become undivisive if we don't start patching if we don't start saying, hey, I respect your difference, you respect my difference, but we have to come together and find common ground.
Yeah.
We do. You and I have differences.
We do.
And I think it does. I think it stems from biases.
What's our differences?
I don't know. We have some differences. I don't like OU, and I know you like OU. I know you do. We'll find that out in 3 weeks.
Boomer Sooner, baby.
No. Daddy's coming.
All right. So I have resisted making any comments on this story with Charlie Kirk simply because every time I think about it, I dang near cry.
Yeah. It
feels
sad.
heavy in my chest, you know, and I heave.
Yeah.
I can't think about what that's like for his wife and for his kids who will never know their dad.
Exactly.
And to be made so public, my wife is, you know, she's very upset that they've left that video online. She's very upset that they're allowing that to be shown and broadcast. When they'll pull off the simplest things, they'll ban them from social media. You can't see it. You know, they're the morality police about this, and yet they let this assassination video circulate. You know, and our kids are seeing this, and they're being desensitized and scared to death about what's going on in society. I've been sad. I've been incredibly sad. I've been so mad. I've been confused. You know, I don't feel like I've had anything that I could contribute to the national conversation on this, other than I'm feeling this the same way everybody else is feeling it.
So I was mowing, and obviously that happened around 3:30 our time, and I didn't get finished mowing until about 6 or 7, and I didn't even know what had happened. Didn't even know. And I get on Facebook, and I won't mention a person's name or whatever, but there was a person I know they had the video on their post. And I saw it, and I was like, holy cow, how did that make it till 6 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon? That was my first thought.
Yeah.
How does that make it till that late on the, and I don't understand why, I don't want to know why, I don't want to get into the conspiracies part of it, but it should have never been allowed. I don't know. I would think that technology today would allow that, because I agree totally with what you're saying. No one should have to endure that. Family-wise, you know, there's distant family members, and obviously they, you know, there's a normal period of time, at least I think there is, there may not be any more, that like if something were to happen to me before, not that I would get on regional coverage or local newscasts or anything, but before I would get home or before it would be announced or put on any kind of coverage, they would give a time frame for all family members, even distant ones, to be notified before this was hit on the airways, I think, right away. And I get it that he's a public figure, and I get that and all, but still, in my opinion, for everyone, not just Charlie Kirk, but for everyone, we have moved away from the grace period to allow family to have private time and to process, because it's huge and it's horrific and it's tragic. It's very tragic, and we've moved away from that.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that you reference 1 Corinthians 13. When I was growing up, my dad was a gospel music singer, and I traveled with him full-time for 4 years, and he had one message that he shared every night, and he'd open his Bible, and he'd speak on 1 Corinthians 13. It's on his gravestone, too, in Cushing, Oklahoma, at the Memorial Park out there by Uchi Valley. It was such a part of his life. I could almost rehearse everything that he would say because I'd heard him speak on 1 Corinthians 13 hundreds of times between the ages of 8 and 13 years old. And it's a difficult passage of Scripture because it's not my initial reaction. My initial reaction is not to love. My initial reaction is to want vengeance.
Yep.
I don't want to take vengeance.
But who's the vengeance belong to?
That's what, that's where you have to, and I know that my mind is not right. My heart is not right on this. I'm not in alignment with what God's word says. I'm not feeling the love.
To be honest with you, I didn't know where we were going to go today. And like 2 weeks ago, we had a definite plan, and I was really scared. I was like, God, I just don't feel it. And then I just landed on this as I was coming over here, and it also connected me back to the verse that I mentioned earlier, and I don't know where it's at. It's in the Gospels, obviously, but Jesus said, "We are not of this world; we are of another world." And I just landed on this thought. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm speaking wrong, I hope a pastor corrects me. But it's in these times sometimes that I wonder if that's what Jesus was saying to us. You're not of this world. You're of a different world if you belong to me. And we can't allow ourselves to get into the mud of this world because this world is evil. And we're seeing that firsthand, and we're not ready. We're not used to seeing that. We've been insulated somewhat from that.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, you got people in other countries that if they come out with their faith, they'll be killed.
Right.
And in fact, you've got some countries that if they know you're meeting, they'll come in and execute every one of you. And there are people that are meeting for church. I've had it at my own church where they have talked about missionaries, and because they use social media, and even if they weren't using social media, they state at the very beginning, we cannot tell you where they're at. We cannot tell you exactly where they're at. We can kind of give you an area region-wise, but we can't tell you where they're at for because if anybody ever picks up on this and they get back to that area, they'll be executed immediately. And I'm like, holy cow. And we don't have that yet, although that's what happened this 2 days ago. And we're not ready. I mean, and we've been insulated from that. And this is a tough thing. It's tough for Christians who truly are. But what saddens me sometimes is that I see the memes and I see the posts. Look, if you mock and you agree with what happened on Wednesday, just unfriend me, just block me. No, this is the time that we need to be telling people, especially that side, about Jesus and about Jesus is love. Jesus is our Savior. How can I introduce you to Jesus to where you see the tragedy as well? Because it was tragic.
Yeah. Yeah, Rodney, I mean, thank you for sharing that message today.
That was scary because I'm sitting in the shower this morning going, do I say that?
Yeah.
And because you're risking, because the easy thing is to be comfortable and to say, man, I don't need to love them. They're horrible. They're rude. They're wrong. Just unfriend me. Just block me. But the other way is to say, how can I talk to you about Jesus and maybe show you a different way? And that's hard. That's hard, especially on a day. Let's just take away Wednesday for a second. It'd be hard still 24 years later to talk about what happened on yesterday's date 24 years ago.
Yeah, 9/11.
How do you talk about that? I mean, how do you look at a terrorist or a person that wants your way of lifestyle and your livelihood eliminated? Just like that goes all the way back to the Crusades. Mm-hmm. The Crusades were between Christians and Muslims.
Yeah,
3 of them.
Well, on the plane home from St. Louis last night, and shout out to American Airlines for switching my flight and getting me directly home rather than sending me through Chicago.
You didn't have a problem with that?
Colleen at Gate 6, C6.
There you go.
American Airlines and STL. She made the extra effort. She got me on a plane. Instead of getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning, I got home at 10:30. It was great.
So I don't want to jinx either one of us, but I hear so many people online that have just horrible experiences with airlines.
Yeah.
So a week and a half ago, I've been concierge key.
Whatever. Oh, you have?
Yes, I have been concierge key.
Oh, man, I'm jealous.
That has come off, and for the first time, Kathy's like, do we have seats? I was like, Kathy, we don't have seats. I don't understand this. And the plane was full. We ended up getting on the plane to go to Boston. And then I called in to the concierge key.
Yeah.
And they helped me, even though I wasn't concierge key anymore. And it ended up that we came back, and I didn't pay extra or anything. We got into the first class seating coming back. But, I haven't had the experiences that others have. And I hear a story. I bet it's almost on a weekly basis. On one of my news feeds, I will see a story where it just had a horrible experience. And American Airlines is one of those. So it's good. I've had good experience with American Airlines. And
I've had great experiences with American Airlines.
Yeah.
And I've had terrible experiences with
American Airlines. I have stock
with
American Airlines. And I don't know if that helps me or not. I'm sure they don't know that I have stock with American Airlines. But
you know, the funny thing is I bought 100 shares of American Airlines when it was down.
Uh-huh.
And it went all the way up $15-$16.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the charts, and I've been
Probably
studying some charts.
I
should have sold it. And then it dropped back down to $8 or $9, and I sold it. And I just I'm tired of this. I'm not holding that.
Yeah. We all could have been in Oracle this week as
well.
But
roofers, the roofing industry, especially those that go out to conferences and stuff like that, they've got hot opinions.
Oh, gosh.
They're like, well, I'm Southwest, and I only fly Southwest, or I'm all Delta. Yeah. I don't hear anybody talking about Spirit or Frontier, though.
Yeah, no. Nope.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's this really cool guy. His name is Chase Hughes. He's a former CIA profiler. and he had a really interesting take on the Charlie Kirk
Well, give it.
story.
I'm gonna
I'll drop the link in the comments if Steve can find Chase Hughes on YouTube and it's like Charlie Kirk's what Charlie Kirk revealed or something like that. Maybe drop it in the comments. But his point was that they're using this event, whether this event was purposeful by a rogue nation or this event was political or whether this event was some, I think they have arrested somebody now.
Yes.
And, it's a 22-year-old radical. Yeah. But whatever's happening, his point was that they're using this to divide us.
Yes.
Like he said that you have more in common with the guy who supports the other political candidate.
I agree.
Down the street from you, who's raising his family and his kids. He just wants to grow up in a safe America. He wants economic prosperity for his family. He wants his kids to do well in life. He's like, they're trying to divide us because they profit from.
Yep.
They profit from the chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the news leads with the divisive news. If you like I said, like. I watch Channel 8 a lot. And on Wednesdays, they've had Wednesday's Child since Iola
Forever.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Iola Johnson, I think, started that. Gail Campos continued it. Cynthia Izagari, I think is how you say your name, continues it. But that story's always after the weather or buried down.
You got to stay all the way to the
end. Yeah, it's
great stories
down.
though.
They're going to lead with. They're not going to lead with Wednesday's Child,
right? Which
is an amazing deal, and I'm just using that as one example. They're not going to like the high school athlete of the week,
right?
They're not going to lead with that. They're not going to lead with that on the because it's not what people want to see.
You're going to have to catch it on the end,
and it's sad that that's what we are driven to. But we're driven to, you'll have, you and I could have just said something very positive, chase that out, and that's not going to get as many views as the negativity. And that's unfortunate in our world and in our crazy deal. Like I've watched, just for example, this is a stupid analogy, doesn't compare to anything what we're talking about today. But I used to be a big watcher of Deal or No Deal. I used to love that. I used to love to see. And there was a guy.
With the banker and the briefcases.
Yes.
And
there was a guy that was from Arkansas.
Okay.
That the first time he had a chance to win, I'm not sure if the million had been taken out, and it was just down to $500,000 or $1. And he rolled the dice and lost and got the $1. And it was so, but his personality, and he was just bigger than life. They brought him back not once, but 2 more times. And I think he lost both of those times too.
Wow.
But it was such great TV and it was such sensationalism that you were lured in to watch. And you were pulling for the guy. And poor guy, I think he's from Arkansas. And I think the poor guy, but, he just never could win, but he was drawn to that, and Deal or No Deal used him just for the drama that it brought to it, and it's sad. Like Kathy and I was high up in Massachusetts and Maine, New Hampshire. Those are typically liberal states. Never came across a combative moment. Met the nicest people. Met people just like me and Kathy, just like you and Shelley, just like Steve and his wife, just like Andrew, and if he's got a wife or girlfriend or...
Andrew, do you have a wife or a girlfriend?
I do not.
Do we have any prospects on the horizon?
Not as of now.
Any girls we want to give a shout out to today?
Not tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
We can help you, Andrew. Anyway, I mean, they're just nice people just trying to get by and get ahead in life and to get there. And we need to focus on those things.
Yeah.
Not the divisive issues of our...
Rodney, we're heading into the last 2 or 3 minutes here before Andrew shuts off the camera and we call another episode of Tiger Talks, put it in the books. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks, but I want you to look in that camera right there, and we're going to splice this up later, but I just want you to kind of share, what is the proper response to the events of this week and put that
It's
into a
tough.
nutshell, man.
It's really tough, but we have to remember faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. It is. It's love. And that's the hardest thing. And I always reference this parable or this scenario. When Jesus was at the well in Samaria, the woman came. She had been married 4 times, was with a 5th guy who was not her husband. Jesus pointed that out in a very loving way. And at that time, Samaritans and Jews were not supposed to even talk. They were not supposed to even mix. They were supposed to not have any conversation. And when the woman said, and I'm sure we get told, and it gets told to us in a very loving way, but I'm sure the lady was very pointed, and maybe I'm very wrong on this. Why are you even talking to me? Mm-hmm. And he was like, you are correct. But I love the way The Chosen portrays this in their series. And if you don't watch The Chosen, it is a great series to watch. But I love the way The Chosen shows this, because he says, you are correct, but I have water that you could use that is not of this not of this world. And every time Jesus came encountered with a person, it was in a loving, kind way that we have lost among ourselves.
Yeah, so the proper response here is what?
Love.
Yeah.
Love. We have to, love overcomes all. And it says it in his scripture. It says it in his word, that faith, hope, love, and the greatest of these is love. Yeah. If you always love, even in the most difficult time, if you always show love, you will win.
All right, powerful way to close out Tiger Talks this week. We'll be back in a couple more weeks, but tonight you're picking Palmer or Scurry?
I'm not picking. Just like in 2 more weeks, I won't pick. That's a tough. 2 weeks from now, which is, I just realized also on the way over here that the next time we do this will be the most. Don't get me wrong, Ennis and Waxahachie. Don't get me wrong, Palmer and Scurry. Don't get me wrong, Everett and Medford. But on September 26th, when we reconvene here, I will have both shirts, and I will not make a pick in that game. It is the biggest game.
It's going to be a big game, huh?
On my calendar. I couldn't even hide. I try to hide it leading up to the facts. When I do the facts throughout the week, and I didn't do a good job with Palmer and Scurry, and I apologize. My people that I normally talk to didn't come through for me. But when I won't even be able to hide Terrell and Kaufman. I won't even be able to hide Terrell and Kaufman. And I just might as well get it out there. That's September 26th, and I'll be doing 5 facts of Terrell, 5 facts of Kaufman, and there's no use in even hiding it.
So go ahead and look for Rodney's post later today where you can pick the score for tonight's game. And
I'll post at 4 o'clock if you want to predict the score. There's always a gift card, and James and Ben, I'm taking care of y'all. I'm sorry I haven't done it yet, but I got y'all. 2 of my longtime friends, James Rickman, who we were talking about earlier, he's got a Whataburger card coming, and Ben's got another, either a Whataburger or a Sonic coming, Ben Wallace, and love both of those guys. And so tonight we'll do it around 4 o'clock. We'll close it off at 7 o'clock, and right prior to kickoff, and I'll be in the house at Scurry Rosser tonight.
Well, this is Tiger Talks. This is Rodney Lawson. I'm Mike Code. Steve.
Go Wildcats and go Bulldogs.
And we're going to find that young man a wife.
All right.
All right. Make it a great day.
Thank you.
That's a good one.